Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Game Hunter, a new series about video game collecting. I'll be answering any questions you have about game collecting, as well as going over tips and advice to start your own collection. So our first episode is going to be about starting a collection and what you need to decide before you buy anything. There are a lot of ways to start collecting games, and one of the worst things you can do when starting a collection is to go into it without any sort of game plan. I'm here to make sure that you start off on the right foot and have an idea of where you want your collection to go. Now, usually a game collector will have some sort of goal in mind. They're going to want to own all of this type of game, or they're going to want to buy as many PlayStation 1 games as they can, something along those lines. Me personally, my goal, I want to own every Dreamcast game that was released in America, and that's what I'm trying to search for. But besides that, I started to come across a lot of other games I liked and I purchased, and I realized I started getting into collecting more and more, and I really enjoyed it. I want to share that passion of mine with you and make sure that you have all the answers and tools you need to enjoy game collecting. The first thing you're going to need to decide is how you're going to buy your games. Are you going to buy them new, complete, or loose? Loose would be just the game disc or cartridge. There's no other instruction manuals, no original case. It's just the game. It is the basics of game collecting. You have the disc, that's all you really need. Complete means the game comes with the original packaging and the instruction manuals. Sometimes if it comes with other things like promotional cards or stickers, that'll be included in a complete game. But as you can see here, it comes with everything that you need for the game. It looks nice when it sits on a shelf, has all the spine artwork. It's a good way to start collecting. Perhaps it's silly to say this, but new is a brand new game, still in packaging, sealed, has weird promo stickers on it about SegaNet that's not even around anymore, and it's more of the premium way to buy. This is usually the most expensive way to buy a game and start a game collection. Now, the easiest way to probably start a collection is to look through online sites like eBay, Amazon, half.com, wherever, and buy someone's collection cheap. While that's fine and all, there are some things you're going to want to look out for. And in terms of buying new and loose, two terms you want to know are new in box and complete in box. For the most part, complete in box usually means something like this. The game comes with all the packaging, and by that it's at least the instructions, the original case, and the back artwork, and it comes with the game. That's usually complete in box, sometimes CIB. Other times people will say complete in box and it's missing, like one of those send away cards for a warranty. Usually fine. For collectors, you usually don't need those, but if you do, ask and find out that way. New in box, or NIB, is actually a bit trickier than you might think. You would think that new in box means something like this, complete in packaging, still wrapped in the factory sealed settings, and looks good like this. That's not always the case. Sometimes sellers online will sell a game new in box, and it's really just the complete version. They just say it's new because it's in good condition or it has everything that it needs. Make sure you read, and if you don't know or you're not sure, ask questions. If you're trying to buy a game like this, complete sealed, you think you have a good deal, one of the worst things that's going to happen is the game's going to show up on your front step and it's going to be, loose or not in the packaging. So be careful about that. Sometimes the game will be incomplete, like this one here. As you can see, I have Power Stone 2 for the Dreamcast. I have the original manual and the game disc, but I'm missing the case and the back artwork. This game would be considered incomplete because it's missing one or more key items. In this case, there's two. So that's something to look out for. Now, personally, I try to buy games that are complete in box, but sometimes they're hard to come by, especially older games. So I got this one just because it was still a good deal. I really just wanted the game. So that's something you're going to have to decide as a collector. Are you willing to bend your rule a little bit to get something that you really want? Something you need to decide before you start buying a lot. Now, depending on which way you buy, there's generally a steep increase in the price range of games. Naturally, loose games are the cheapest because they're the easiest to find, don't really need anything else to buy them. And naturally, new games still in package are the most expensive because they're still factory sealed, but it's whatever you want to go with. Personally, like I said, I go with complete, because not only is the game in nice condition, it has everything I want for it, and I can open it and play it whenever I want. Definitely a perk to game collecting. A good way to illustrate the steep price range between a loose game and a new game is to look at a game kind of like Final Fantasy VII, one that's popular when it came out and people know what it is. While this game isn't really rare, it is a popular game, and it's good for this example. So I have the game here. It's complete. It's the greatest hits version. I have all the artwork, all the instructions, and the game discs. So this is complete in box. This is going to fetch around $40 to $50 depending on where you buy it, when you buy it. Now, see, I just had 3 game discs and it was loose. Well, it's still a popular game. 3 game discs, probably going to be $25, $30. It's a nice buy, it's a sought after game, and that's a good deal for it. If I had the game brand new, still in factory sealed packaging, It's premium, so it's going to cost a lot more money. General rule of thumb is a premium packaged factory sealed game is usually 2 times more expensive than the regular price. So if this is usually about 50 bucks, it's going to be upwards to $150, maybe between 100 and 130 if you're lucky to get it still in the packaging. Now for the aspiring collector, like I said, you're going to want to decide if you're going to buy new, loose, or complete, and you're going to have to stick with that choice. It's not to say if you're buying complete games you can't buy a random loose game here or there. It's just that if you're trying to get with something, stick with that idea, don't stray too far, otherwise you're going to have games all over the place that aren't going to look good, or you're going to regret buying later because you bought something for a bad price, or a bad deal, or it wasn't really what you wanted. So have a game plan and stick with it. For the most part, newer games for newer consoles like the 3DS, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, all the new stuff, you can find those games complete in the wild all over the place. GameStop will sell them, Walmart sells things like that. You can usually get it for cheap prices if you buy used, and those games should almost always come as complete. There's no reason why you should buy Super Mario Galaxy, just the game disc, when you could easily go across the street to another store and buy it for probably the same price with the game disc, case, and the manual. But older games are a bit harder to find out in the wild, and they're even harder to find complete. So this copy I have of Super Magnetic Neo, was a harder game for me to find, but I can't find it anywhere with the case unless I'm going to pay a premium price online. So I had to kind of bite the bullet for my collection and just get that game loose. Throughout this series and this show, you're going to hear me say that term "in the wild" quite a lot. And when I say in the wild, I mean out in a physical store. So I went to GameStop or Walmart or a used game store and I found the game there. That's in the wild. The other way to get games, and the more premium way to buy them, is through online retailers. The best one I can think of offhand is eBay. And there are some things you need to look out for when you're searching online, because you can't actually see the game, so you have to make sure the description for the game and the pictures are accurate. Be careful when buying online and buying a game new. Now, like I said before, new in box doesn't always mean it's still in the packaging. If someone's selling a game online and you're looking for it still factory sealed, if they don't say it's factory sealed or there's no picture showing that it's factory sealed, ask that person a question, and if they don't give you the answer, you're not going to want to buy that game. One of the worst things you're going to do is bite the bullet and get a game on a risk, and it comes, it's not going to be what you want. So try to avoid that. Factory sealed games are sealed in that very familiar sort of packaging. If you've ever bought a new game from GameStop, you'll know it's that crinkly sort of plastic, like this one I'm holding up here. It's a unique sort of feel. It's only really on entertainment, things like that. Even DVDs have that plastic. Sometimes online retailers or resale shops will sell a game as new and it'll be in a plastic wrap, but it's just actually shrink wrapped. It's not the same sort of plastic. You can feel it when you get it. It's softer, it tears a lot easier. It's not the same thing. Now, confusingly, some games have shipped that way with that sort of worse quality packaging, but for the most part, games will always be in that sort of crinkly, harder plastic, and that is factory sealed. Now, I personally try not to do this at all because it's a bad practice in my opinion, but you can sometimes buy a game loose or incomplete online in hopes of finding the pieces for that game later. So, for example, you could buy Final Fantasy VII, all 3 game discs, and someone on eBay or somewhere is probably selling the game case with no discs, and or the game manual. Now you can try to use all 3 or 2 of those auctions to get everything, make a complete game, but I don't recommend it because this Frankenstein method is very, very risky. And the reason it is risky is because you don't know if you're going to actually find the other piece you're looking for, and you don't know the quality of that piece that's coming in, if it's going to match the quality of your game case. So if you have a nice case and really crappy games, it's going to be kind of weird. So there you have a basic introduction to game collecting, with a few of the terms you're probably going to run across when looking online or buying from other people. If you're trying to start a collection, or if you come here and your collection is already going, I strongly recommend having a game plan, something that you want to run with, or a goal at the end that you can reach. Make sure you have that game plan, whether you're going to buy new, loose, or complete, and stick with the plan. You don't want to get all willy-nilly and buy games all over the place and end up with a pile of games in your room that you're never going to play or you bought and you're regretting. One big benefit game collecting has over a lot of other collections is that games are meant to be played. Assuming you're not buying a game brand new and you don't plan on opening it, all these games can be opened and enjoyed. So if you never played Final Fantasy VII and you buy it, well, now it's in your collection and you can enjoy that game. Spend some time doing that. If you're going to spend money on a game, you might as well enjoy what you're doing even more than just seeing it sit on a shelf. No matter which way you go about it, just have fun hunting for games and enjoy what you get. Know that you're not always going to find what you want off the bat, and oftentimes it's smarter to wait for a game to come across at the right price at the right time than to foolishly rush out and buy something that you might not want. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about game collecting today, picked up some new terms, and realize that game collecting can be fun, if not challenging, and very, very rewarding. Alright, that does it for the first episode of Game Hunter. Like I said, I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below in the comments, send me a message, and I'll be sure to answer it. And if you have any ideas for topics for the next episode, or new game titles that I should look into, let me know. Alright guys, take care.